This show is very explicit. So if you're under the age of, I guess 13 really in America, or 12 in some countries, and I will actually really, if you're under the age of 18, you probably still should not listen to this show. But legally, it's fine. Also, do share this show, and try to share it with a mature audience. Thank you. Right. Alrighty then. What are starseeds? Who are starseeds? Are you a starseed? I don't know. You tell me. Really. As for that, I don't know. I don't think that there's any set checklist to tell if you are a starseed, but I do know that we tend to remember. And that's a weird concept, too. I know for a lot of people out there, it might just seem like a bunch of hoobly jubbly. And heck, maybe it is. From my perspective of it, as to my own experience, for me, it just comes down to a very, very vivid dream that was jam-packed with a lot of data, memories in the dream. I don't mean memory of the dream, I mean memories within the dream of other times that followed through. And, yeah, so it could all be just, for me, taken to be a very powerful imagination and powerful mind. And I am completely accepting of that possibility. That's a very important thing in the matter of any kind of thing to be claimed as real or scientific or practical. It's very important to keep a sane, open mind here. And this is a huge topic, so I think that it's very, very important that at least I talk about it in a way that allows for practicality. Very important, because some people just listen to shit. By the way, this show is explicit. It will say that, and wherever this is being played, whether it's on Apple, Google Podcast, I've got the RSS feed linking to at least like 10 different platforms. So wherever you're catching this, This show is explicit, and I even recorded a little funny thingy. Here we go. This show is explicit. If you are under the age of 18, please get the fuck on out of here. Thank you. This message is brought to you by Kabuna. Kabuna, Kabuna, Kabuna. Huh. Kabuna, Kabuna, Kabuna. Huh. Kapuna. Kapuna. It's very, very puna. How much? Kapuna. Oh yeah. Well, I like to start off the show with a little bit of some music. So, hope you're having an awesome night or day or whatever time you're catching this. And that. I already done said it. Look, don't trip, okay? I'll tell you once more, okay? Baby steps. Baby steps. I said it twice before, still gotta say it again. Verbal word, bang for a buck, I work for my rent. Some people talk a lot, but does it even make sense? So tell my homies that I'm gamble now. I only invest, no joke, I fuck with only the best. Honor, respect. Jealous of your mental when you still baby step. That baby step and baby step it. Man, I be preaching the word. Silicon Valley, so they call me a nerd. But David Sagittarius, so I teach what you learn. And I'm here with Phoenix style, so I chill when I burn. Baby, you feed me like bird. Don't try to bite what ain't earned. You better say what you heard. My copyright, see the perm. Spit bars so hard, you don't even wanna hear it. Cognitive dissonance, tripping providence, conscious visit. Compliment the dance, well, damn, where did you get it? Spirit about it, I guess the Holy Ghost with it. That's the Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost. You know? The bass being low, guess I'm waking him up. Proof is in the pudding and my belly be stuffed. You think Mercury retrograde even give a fuck? Mercury retrograde don't give a motherfuck. Trippin'. Hella trippin'. Crazy. Preaching the word. I be preaching the word. Silicon Valley and they call me a nerd. Midhaven Sagittarius, so I teach what you learn. And I'm heated Phoenix style, so I chill when I burn. Baby, repeat me like bird. Don't try to bite what ain't earned. You better say what you heard. Bet. Cognitive dissonance, fishing compliments, mission is finished. Every goddamn duck face mimic. To my double bitch. Trippin'. I swipe right on all them bitches, okay? Look, it's nothing new, it's nothing special. I mean, when it's monkey see, monkey do, hey, what's the difference if I swipe right on all of them? What's the difference? Right. If you've heard that before, you will have noticed that that is not the remastered version at all. And the reason being for that is because, well, you're going to have to pay if you're going to want to listen to the remastered version, because I just dropped it as an album. What? Yes, I did. I just dropped my first rap album, and I'm feeling pretty hyphy about that. It is a hyphy album. And yeah, Well, it has to go through review first before it's going to show up in stores. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. So that's really cool. And I don't know, like, it's a pretty provocative theme, really. If you see the album art, I put it up as the artwork picture for this episode. And yeah, yeah. So the theme is like kind of esoteric meets hyphy. And I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect. I think it fits perfectly. And if anything, it brings back the hyphy movement into like a more ancient kind of way. But yeah, no, I considered a couple songs for it, but a lot of the songs didn't make the cut. You know, I think a lot of the songs I have to redo and re-edit, and it's really funny the way that I do it. Actually, is I use three apps and two online web features to get the thing to be like totally crisp and um, edited. And I didn't really know nothing about nothing until I tried to get into this. And I think that's a huge thing. Is that when you want to do something, just go and do it and go for it, right? A lot of us we think, oh, I can't do that because I don't know how, and it's like, well, that's redundant, right? That becomes redundant because you learn how to do something from trying, right? You know. So the Starseed thing, it goes way back, and I would say that as even though it goes like all the way back through history, the only things that I can really refer to would be Edgar Casey and Dolores Cannon. I think Dolores Cannon would probably be the foremost modern pusher of the theory, and let's call it a theory, right? Because until we have like substantial evidence, the whole he said she said thing that doesn't work, you know. And it does become a very elusive topic to get evidence about because I mean when it comes to these things it only really comes down to a personal experience, and since we've yet to be able to scientifically prove shareable personable experience um, in open science, at least I should say, we cannot really say that any of it's factual. But Edgar Casey, in a prophecy about this age, told about a time, a very, very, very powerful prophecy. Actually, it was talking about the age of Aquarius, the age of the Thousand-Year War, and what it entitled, which was a very strong theme. I will just glance over this because I'm not gonna waste everybody's time talking about um, something that they probably haven't researched themselves. If you don't know Edgar Casey, and I would say the majority of people haven't heard of him, which is really weird to me. For me, I started studying him when I was a kid. The first time I had a library card, I asked my dad, what should I read? What should I look up at the library? And he said, Edgar Casey. So I took my library card, walked down to the library, and borrowed three books on him, and I've been reading up on him ever since. Now, Edgar Casey was a prophet. They call him the sleeping prophet. He was also well, what it is he got sick one time, right? And I'm talking about this is I think his time frame was the late 1800s to I think he died in the 40s, 1940s. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. I don't know. But in any case, he got sick one time. I think it was in his 20s when he got sick, and he went to the doctor, And at the time, in the medical world and science world, hypnosis was the thing. It was the thing going on. And back then, they didn't call it hypnosis; they called it animal magnetism. And as to why, that would be another show in of itself. But yeah, no. The doctor asked him if he minded if he tried out a new thing going on, the hypnosis or animal magnetism. Edgar Casey said yes, and to the doctor's astoundment, Edgar Casey, in a trance, was not only able to explain how he got the illness, which was a loss of his voice. Actually, at the time he was the salesman, and you kind of need your voice for that, right? And but he not only was able to explain how he got his illness, but he also self diagnosed and recommended a cure for it. Now that was mind blowing to the doctor, of course, and to Edgar Casey. They soon became good friends and got a stenographer for his readings, and that was that. They did. I think the number was around 14,300 or so. Oh no, 14,040 maybe. I think it was, yeah. Readings that were stenographed, that were typed out as they were happening by the stenographer, and they are all kept, and we still have them all. They're all kept by the Association for Research and Enlightenment, the ARE, that Edgar Casey had started up back in the 30s. Now, this is a huge thing. I mean, it's the Association for Research and Enlightenment. They've been around since the 30s. Two hospitals are named after Edgar Casey. He was the one who single-handedly started the first all-free hospital in the modern Western world. And it didn't last, of course, but the aim was there, and it's huge. So if you don't know Edgar Casey, I suggest you look him up and definitely get into him. I would say he is probably the most profound, substantial evidence for psychic phenomenon and spiritual phenomenon that we could say is scientifically proven, in the sense that he didn't just give the readings to people. Like, they mailed him back, a lot. And there was a lot of mail evidence that they still have at the ARE, that explain all these verified things. And there were a lot of strange things too in the readings, a lot of weird stuff, from spirits and to Atlantis. There was a lot on Atlantis, a lot on Jesus Christ and the times of Jesus Christ, and also a lot of prophecies. Edgar Casey found Pluto before our modern instruments were able to, and he called it the planet Vulcan, by the way. He knew exactly where it was. He knew where it would be found when they would find it, and he prophesied the Great Depression, World War II, a lot about Hitler. Interesting things about Hitler, mind you. Very strange topic in itself. And a lot towards the future. And some of that had to do with the times we're in now. He talked about the Aquarian Age and the process out from the Piscean Age into the Age of Aquarius. He talked about the souls that would be coming. And a lot of it was a very funny one, very strange one. He talked about the 1,000-Year War. He talked about a time when the angels, or the beings of light, angels, I can't remember what he said exactly, and the beings from the lower realm would come and, the angels would descend to Earth, and the beings from the lower realm would ascend and they would have the 1,000 year spiritual war between them over the domain of man, and the angels would cover the earth with a force field or whatnot, what have you, so that way there would be no ins and outs, which is a funny thing. Um, but yeah, and there would be the 1,000 year war over the domain of man. Now, to me, the way I take this to mean is that the domain of man is man and women, as in to incarnate into them. That's a very, very, very touchy topic, because that's to say um, that angels and beings from the lower realm have been incarnating into man. And then it becomes a huge thing too in of itself, because then we would have the sense is that us in our human being form, there are no good or bad people. Now, of course, you might argue that fact, but a lot of the mystics and swamis say the same that I'm saying, and that is that we are all balancing in between at all times. We can choose these actions of good or bad, but we are always in between. That's a natural state, and as we are human, we are that. The choice is ours, and the choice is always there. So then it becomes a thing to realize and awaken to the idea of not blaming or not fearing or not condemning, for sure. In one of Edgar Casey's readings, he put it that as condemn, we condemn ourselves, and as we forgive, we free ourselves, which is a huge thing. I believe that's very practical in a sense too, in a manner of the way that we project psychologically and project our emotions outwards. You can tell, and it's always the same thing, is that the manner of which we project and blame is the specific manner in which we inwardly deny the association of that unto ourselves. That might be a little bit confusing for anybody, but basically the thing is, ye who smelt it dealt it. And it's a horrible concept because only in its vaguity, because we do get lost in it, and the whole theme "I am you" pushed out became a huge, huge misunderstood concept to the spiritual circles. People started thinking like, "Oh, okay, I could just say that, oh, it's all you," and they could not take any blame, right, or any responsibility for their own actions. The whole comic of how did it go? Like, one of the comics put it like this: it was that, and I quote, "I'm a huge firm believer in karma. In this way, if I do anything bad to somebody, I know they deserved it." Horrible, horrible, right? You see, the thing is that this leaves open a gap and a void to be filled, and it gets filled with narcissistic types. I was just telling a friend earlier that the way to tell if a person is caught in the narcissistic modem, because let's not condemn a person as quote unquote narcissistic. I think that would be narcissistic of us to do so, you know. Let's put it more of as a modem which a person can be caught in, right? It's more responsible of us to do it like that, I think. Well, the thing is, yeah, it leaves open this huge void to be filled by those caught in the narcissistic modem, and in this way, they could just say like, "Oh, I am you pushed out, and it's all you." And if you're, getting these emotions because of my actions, well, that's for you to deal with. Like, that is so irresponsible. It's so immature. and it's very cruel, I think. It's very cruel. We should always, always, always empathize with one another. We should always, always take responsibility for our own actions and how they affect others, regardless of our egoic sense of whether that's all them or us. I mean, because we should care. I think that the natural human tendency is towards compassion, and that the more that we encompass our true self from within, the more that we have the connection with others, and that just brings about more compassion, more empathy, right? If you understand your connection to another person, then the empathy is direct, it's pure, it's exact. So another person being hurt would be your own pain as well, obviously. And yeah, in any sense, let's not trail off too hard. That is a very important topic, but today let's do more on starseeds, right? Well, yeah. So basically, in Edgar Casey's way of putting it, the starseeds were the angels. Now, Dolores Cannon talked about this too. She talked about it as the three waves. She talked about it as that after the nukes went off, basically, it caused a sort of rift throughout dimensions. And a call went out from Earth to the cosmos, basically, asking for help. And that help came as beings incarnating as human from every sense, every place of the galaxy or universe, what have you, right? And these would be very many different kinds of, entities from different kinds of worlds and experiences. And in Dolores Cannon's explanation, now Dolores Cannon, she was not a psychic herself. What she was a professional hypnotist. So what she would do is she would go around the world, and she had her own method of hypnotizing people to get to the very deepest possible trance state. And I don't know her technique. I would like to learn it. That's very interesting. But what caught her was that when people would get into this trance, is that it didn't matter who they were, it didn't matter what part of the world they were from, but they would all start saying the same things, and they were able to basically speak as the universe, basically. Yeah, or what have you. And a lot of her books are written on these experiences. She passed away not too long ago, sadly, but there's a lot of videos on her, and she's a very, very amazing person. And she takes the whole thing in a very scientific and practical sense. What have you, regardless, though it is a very strange bunch of stuff that she talks about. And there's a lot of weird stuff that she talks about, especially when it comes to time and dimensional aspects. But anyways, she talked about the three waves that responded to the call. Let's see. I think the first wave was the generators, which were like energy generators, basically, and they were to help be energy generators to raise the vibration and whatnot of the earth. And if you're in any spiritual groups online or on Facebook, yeah, then you probably heard a whole shit ton of that, right? And then yeah, there's the middle wave group, which I can't remember exactly what she calls them, but I would prefer to state that it would be more of the hardcore general types. And my experience of my readings, and I do astrology, by the way, the types that I've found to match up with the second wave have always been in former lives like generals or very powerful military, not powerful, but influential in the sense of they take action, military type people in past lives and such. And yeah, and then the third wave would be of course, the pure souls, somewhat you could call it, those directly from source. This is according to, and me mixing in with my own stuff, but Dolores Cannon's talks about it and books about it, and she goes very much into depth on it, really. And I like to say that this it really does match up with Edgar Casey's way about it. Now, Edgar Casey explains it as that the age technically started in 1997, I think it was. This would be the cutoff. But as we would have it, it would be that the three waves would be before that coming in, right? If we mix together the two prophecies, um, it would be that those born before 1997, and then the 1997 would be the time when they put the force field or whatnot, what have you, as per Edgar Casey's reading stated. Now, to me, in my dream, I had a really funky dream. Very powerful, very strong, very vivid. And I say it as a dream, but sometimes I say it as a vision because it was jam packed full of data. Now, mind you, in most of my dreams, I can see better than I can see in real life. And that's because, well, I'm a moon 12th house Pisces, trining Mercury, Pluto, which is of the mental, and 8th house Scorpio, trining Chiron, actually, in my 4th. If you're not an astrologer, that basically means I've got a very powerful grand trine going on, a water grand trine, and it has a lot to do with the dream and subconscious realms. And as such, I am very much connected to those. Um, yeah, lucid dreamer since I was very, very young. I didn't even know other people could do it. I didn't know there was a name for it. But that was my thing, I was controlling my dreams in my dream realm since I was very young. But this was not a lucid dream this time. I was an adult, and although it had the vividness of being a lucid dream, it was very strange because to me it seemed like it was happening, a thing happening in the moment as I was experiencing such. It was like I was very much there, and in the dream I was recalling, not here, not waking realm stuff, but recalling things from the past of my experience then, which was a very strange thing. If you've ever had that in dreams, it can happen sometimes. But yeah, there was a lot of vivid stuff. I was in a weird world, let's say, right? Up in the stars. There was no planet. We didn't have a planet. We had a city, and there was no electricity or technology. We had no need for things like that. We were spirit beings, and we manifested everything at will. If you think of the movie Thor, you remember how their city was, and it had the water that cascaded out into space. Well, ours was kind of like that, only the water didn't cascade downward, which is ridiculous. It just kind of went off into the distance and then became more and more invisible or non-existent, right? As it just dissipated into nothingness, or space, outer space, you could say. The whole place was, we didn't have streets, we had canals. We celebrated everything. Everything. Very, very much about celebration. And we were adventurers. We'd travel out on our ships. And we didn't need the ships, of course, and they were not a technological bunch of ships. They were wooden ships, and we didn't need them to travel, but it was just more fun like that. We'd go through these light tunnels and just, suddenly would be at the other worlds. And I remember there was this trip that we went on. We went to this beautiful place. It had it had waterfalls cascading from cliffs out onto the ocean. It was full of wildlife. It didn't seem to have any other life than that. Just a lot of plants and wildlife. And I remember that, I journeyed off on my own and I found something up on a hill. I won't go into too much about it because that's a very secret thing. But let's just say I picked it up. I knew exactly what it was the moment I touched it, as the essence of it became one with me. It transformed in every kind of dimensional scale as a hypercube, as in beyond our three-dimensional comprehension. And it transformed as I willed of that, I guess you could say, right? When we came back from our journey, the whole town was celebrating. Everybody was throwing up all their golden gems into the air, and they were falling down into the waters of the canal that our ship was sailing in. And everybody on the ship was throwing up all their gems and all the treasure that was found. And it all fell down into the canal. And I remember looking over, and I looked to the bottom, and the whole ground, the floor of the canal was covered with jewels and gems and gold, and it was all shining. And you see, there was no greed, there was no scarcity. In the essence of it, you could see that it was a livelihood where everybody shared, and there was abundance, and there was no idea of neediness or greed. And I make emphasis there because in that moment I was standing at the brig and I was looking in my hand and I saw the gem, treasure, what have you, whatever you want to call it. I didn't want to toss it over. I wanted it. I didn't understand the feeling. It felt horrible that I would want to keep it for myself, but I did. I wanted to keep it for myself. And I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the notion of the emotion. And I looked around because suddenly I felt like ashamed. In a weird feeling that I had never... There was the imprint that there was never the emotion felt before. And nobody understood the emotion, so nobody had any blame for it. As I looked around, nobody seemed to care. Or even pay attention or notice that I didn't throw it up into the air and down into the canals, as was our way. But I think for me what it was the emotion was a new emotion and I didn't understand it. So I wanted to learn about it. So I went to find a man with a map. It's very weird too because later on, maybe like a year or so after I had the dream, I met the guy here. It's so weird. Anyways, and what happened in the dream was that the guy pointed to an area on the map. I knew that was exactly where I had to go. I focused my will and intent to travel there. I traveled at the speed of light through a light tunnel, as we would do, from willing to do so. And I came down through the roof ceiling, and I saw my mother pregnant with me. There were 3 beings there. Very dark beings, ugly. One was huge, took up a good portion of the room. One was really small and fast, and the other was just regular sized, I guess. But they all looked really hideous, and they all really did not like the fact that I was there. And so they all 3 attacked me really crazily, and yeah, I saw my mom pregnant with me, or this body, or whatever you want to call it. And then in the fight, during the fight, in the dream, I woke up. And like I said, this dream was just a couple years back. you know. See, the thing is that, afterwards, after some time had passed, I asked my dad about my birth. I guess what it was as soon as my parents had gotten the first house that I grew up in, and started trying to move everything in. The first time they walked in through the door, my mom's water broke, which is kind of funny, you know. Seeing the dream, it was pretty much like that. I remember exactly where I came down through the roof. I remember where she was standing. I remember that it did seem like the whole place was open. There wasn't really much in it. There was stuff in it, but yeah. I was born a month early, and there was trouble with my birth, of course, besides having to be shipped off to Oahu because the Maui hospital didn't have the facility for me or for us. I also I had trouble breathing when I was born, so I had to stay in the incubator. So it's kind of weird that all of it did kind of fit together. Even my dream or vision or whatever you want to call it, it did include um, elements that did tend up to be or end up to be factual in real life, things that I did not know at the time. And it kind of does line up with the Edgar Casey and Dolores Cannon model of their prophecies. Because if you, as you have it, you have a essentially, uh, being from a higher realm coming down, and I had to fight beings from the lower realms or what have you in order to incarnate into the domain of a human being. A very, very touchy topic, very hardcore topic. But I mean, I'm not saying that this is like exactly, what it is and what things are. I'm just saying that it's funny how some things line up. For me, I take everything, very much at it's evidence based. It's about practicality and what we can say is true. But we should never close our minds to the data and to the possibilities, ever. Never close our minds to things that could be, because we become obtuse in them. So, in the strive towards um, authenticity in our science, we have to keep open minds, always. Always, always, always. And, that's my experience with that. I do believe that there are people here that have incarnated from, spirits from all over. And astrology, a lot of things do point to that, especially when it comes to the amount of funny, weird people and gifted people that we have right now on Earth. It's amazing, and I do hope everybody keeps an open mind to things. Now, let's see. I like to close out with a song too. Which one should I do? I just played Baby Steps, I think, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Actually, I don't think I played this one yet. This was the one from way back when. This isn't on the thing that I dropped, but actually, this one right here, I call it Go Easy on Yourself. And this is relationship based, actually. It's a very deep one. I, at the time, was very emotional. You can hear it in my voice. And I was trying to explain a situation that I think a lot of us can relate to. At the moment, I was in that situation. So, much love. This is a Creative Commons beat, and I just wrote this. It's about how one day we will all return to the house of the self. Simplicity. Like 1, 2, 3. But right now, as before, a man destroys himself by reliving his hell. See, it's a metaphor. Life. We try to do what's right, but we know not what we do. So let me tell you. A woman tries to heal, sanctify an irony that compromises sanity, since innocence as a child was taken, rectify peace by creating repeats of the feeling to silence the inner demons, all the meanwhile doubt and shame. She blames. Please put the finger down, baby. You know I can relate. So let me explain. Go easy on yourself. Go easy on yourself. Count to 3, remembering how simplicity felt. Go easy on yourself. Go easy on yourself. Count to 3, remembering how simplicity felt. That's how simplicity felt. Yeah. Simplicity. A man destroys himself, he keeps manifesting hell. He saw his mother's demons win to keep her secrets to himself. So what eats away his innocence, a child's right to experience. Relationships don't stand a chance, go easy on himself. He should. He deserves it. No need for the suffering. No. Yeah. So, as fate would have it, like they planned it on a soul level, karmically meant to meet each, the angel to the other's devil, both trigger each other, point and blame at the lover, till they break and you create a story that they can't escape. If only they could stop the hate and find the effort to relate. It's all illusion anyway, just look into each other's eyes, simplicity felt. Go easy on yourself, go easy on yourself, go easy on yourself. Go easy on yourself, go easy on yourself. Yeah, go easy on yourself, go easy on yourself. Remembering simplicity, baby. The world needs it. Alright, 20 seconds left. Much love. Aloha oe. God bless. And God bless you, Mom, wherever you are. That was a deep, deep song for me. I love you, Mom. One of the new tools that I found online gives us the way for you to communicate with us verbally. And it's not calling, but it's kind of like that. Yeah, that's right. You can leave messages that we can put on the show just by clicking a link and then clicking a button, of course. But if you want to say anything to us or give a shout out, please do. If you have questions, perhaps on one of our episodes, I'll leave a link from now on. So that way you could verbally communicate to us and be put on the show if you want. You know, you don't have to. If you're going to leave a voice recording, I'm going to assume that it's to be on the show, mind you. If you don't want it to be on the show, then there's a phone number in the description for the show. Please call. But other than that, if you want to be on the show and you want to be on air, please do click the link. Send us a voice message and we shall communicate over the air. Yes.